Okay, here is our 2024 DRV Orlando, well, DRV Mobile Suites Orlando that we have listed for sale on RVTrader. So we are going to do a little bit of a walk around and walk through on it. You'll have to bear with me. I'm definitely not a professional videographer, but we can start at the front here and kind of go around. So this is a bunk model, if you don't know, they're Orlando, and ours was custom ordered with 3 bunks. A standard is only 2. So this is like the normal side for it. It has the escape window there, and it has 1 bunk. So there's like a little bit of a hall that goes down, so that's the window for that. And then we have what I like to call the basement here underneath. So pretty standard. This is the in-command kind of controls if you need to reset anything. They're all right here. You just pop them off, and this is the big bad boy. I tend to stay out of there unless I need to, but every once in a while it might need reset. That's the ladder for getting up on the back. Sewer hoses from the other side. Again, a pretty standard basement. There is 1 awning that goes over the door, and that can be controlled and put out by the in-command app or on the screen inside. This is the vent for the heat. Obviously our door and our big slide. So the Orlando is like the biggest DRV model, and it has 6 slides. So we were living in it basically full time and wanted the most room that we could get. So 6 slides was basically it. So this one is the kitchen slide, and it has the TV on this side, and then the stove is right here, and that's a window that's above the stove, and then the microwave vent. Here, get my finger in the right spot. We ordered it with the outdoor entertainment, but we did not try and do this one-handed. We ordered it without TVs. We put our own, or we bought TVs to put in it. We didn't want the standard RV ones, so we got the option to have an outdoor entertainment TV, but we did not ever get one. We never used it. But it is set up. This wiring goes inside. There is a Jensen sound bar, and there actually, I just realized this like the other day, this is the back side of the furnace inside. So if you needed to like access it for some reason, you could get in there through here. So that is that guy. It's a little stiff because we've never used it. It hasn't really been opened. It's got 3 axles. It has the more ride suspension. It's got its own brakes, so it does a lot of the stopping for you when you're pulling it, because it's kind of a heavy guy. So that help is nice, you know, if you need it. There's 2 other storage compartments here in the back. One has a hook here. Pardon my camera angles. So we've got some tire blocks, and I've got a rear stabilizer in there that we were just going to send with it. This one, since it's under the master bed, it does not have a holder, so you just have to hold it up yourself while getting in there, and that is the wires for the bed slide. So going back out here, this is the master bed slide. The master bedroom has 2 slides. One is a vanity. So there's a window on either side of the bed and one over the back of the bed. All the slides have slide toppers on them, which helps keep stuff off the top of your slides there. The lovely back end of the DRV, that is where the ladder would attach to. There's hooks on the ladder that go into that, so you can get on the roof if you need to. It did not come with that ladder. Apparently it's a liability for DRV to include a ladder so you can get on your roof. So we had to buy that, but that is in there. This is the bathroom here in the back, and there is more storage back here. Sorry, we just mowed and got lots of grass all over, but there is the hose. It does have a reel to help pull it in there. I've just got that in there to block the hole, because it's just like this big hole for the cord to come out. And I didn't like how big of a hole it was. You know, Iowa, we have wasps and mice and, you know, all sorts of critters that would love to climb up that cord and get in there. So I try and keep them out as much as possible. Up here we have, try and stand back a little bit so you can see it. This is the vanity slide. So you can kind of see it doesn't come out as far as the other slide. Basically, it just goes over the top of like a dresser inside, but it gives you more room. And it's got lots of storage in it. This is another storage compartment. It's got a lot of room. So this has 2 black tanks and 2 gray tanks. So this is the back dump here. And this is where the poles are for that. The running down the backside, I usually lube them with like a silicone lube, and that's what that is. There's some things for putting out the jacks, couldn't think of the word, and the holders for the sewer hoses that we're going to go with it. This slide is the kitchen, or sorry, they call it the couch slide, I think, on the in command. So there's the fridge. I did not unlock it, but I can do that right now. So this is a little access for the fridge. And you can get to the plug, or, you know, if you need to get to the back of it and don't want to pull it out, that is an option right there, which is really nice. And then right next to it is the couch recliners. There's a word for it, and I can't think of what it is, but there's a window over the couch. And avoid my lovely tree here. There's also another window, and there's 2 couches, so there's seating for 4. That was one of the things we liked. We have 3 kiddos, so there's 5 of us. And our last RV didn't have enough room for us to all sit in the main area and watch TV. So that's one of the things we like. And they both recline. I'll show you when we get in there. But anyway, here is what I call the kids' bathroom. There's the vent for the dryer. It's got a residential washer and dryer in there. This is the water heater vent. You have to open this up, and there's a switch right there that you flip to turn it on. It has to be turned on outside and inside to work, so that might throw you for a loop the first time. This is your hookups. There's you can do hookups for satellite, cable. There's the I'm having a brain fart. Anyway, that is where you can hook up. We usually have done city water, but it does have a pretty big freshwater tank. There are the pullouts for the front tanks. So the back tank is for the back bathroom. That's it. So it's the black tank for the toilet, and then the shower and the sink are in that gray tank. And then the front tank here, the gray tank is for the washer, the dishwasher, and the bathroom sink and the kitchen sink. And then the black tank is just for this toilet. Both toilets are macerator toilets, so it does make dumping fairly easy, like cleanup wise. This will try and trick you. It says gray Santa Flush and black Santa Flush. The gray is for the front black tank. The black is for the back black tank. The gray tank does not actually have a flush for it. I wish it did, but it does not. That's just for the 2 black tanks. So this is for the other side of, let's see here. Got my lights turned off. This is the other side of the underneath storage. There is a water my words are escaping me, but basically you can shut off various spots. Like you can just shut off the cold water to the toilets, cold water to the sinks, instead of having to kill the water to the whole camper. You can just shut it off to where you need to. And there is a built-in water filter right here, so you don't have to have one out at the hydrant. This is where you can go in and change that. And then this just slides shut here. And over here is our leveling screen. This is, it's called One Control, and this is where you would level it. Like you come over here after you get unhooked, and these are the jack controls to put them down. and to like retract to put them up. So it's just a standard, you know, 2 buttons to turn it on, and then you can hit auto level here, but it doesn't actually do anything. So you come back here on the screen after all your jacks are down and do the level up leveler, and it will tell you, you know, if it is level. I think it maybe has other functions, but that's the only one that we use there. This is the propane area. There's also directions for the touchpad. There are 2 40-gallon tanks, and they just slide out on this thing here. Makes it handy for me to be able to do by myself. So you can switch this slider from tank to tank, like you point it at the tank you want, or what you can do is open both tanks and just leave the slider, and it will use out of both tanks. The downside to that is that if you're not keeping an eye on it, you could, you know, run out and not realize it, not have any. It locks into place there. And if we go around the front, we have installed a Gen Y, sorry, we didn't install it. We had the dealership install a Gen Y gooseneck hitch for us. So it does have that. It makes it a lot easier for us. We just didn't really like the 5th wheel hitches and didn't want that in the back of our truck. And we love the Gen Y part, as far as you can see the camper bouncing around like crazy back there, and it does not transfer to the truck like it normally would have. Like, we did have a gooseneck hitch in our previous RV, and it, you know, it did a lot of the talking for the truck, if you know what I mean. So here is our battery compartment, and I believe that blue thing is the inverter. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not sure. There's the hydraulic tank for the jacks, because the jacks are hydraulic auto jacks. There's 4 batteries, and they are all tied together, and if you know, need to jump it because they died, you can just hook on to, you find the right posts in there, and you can jump it that way. There is a shut off here that you can disconnect the batteries. I don't always remember to do that. So that's that compartment, and sorry about that slam. This one, we have a LP generator. We've only ran it when they showed us how to use it at the dealership when we picked it up, but it worked fine then. You can control it from the screen inside, and it's a great backup to have. It's good for peace of mind, but we haven't had to use it. We went with the LP just because we were going to be long-term, and long-term, usually we get a big propane tank, and I figured it would be easier to just use from a big tank for the heat. And it also has, if you've got a little gas stove, you can hook into here, and it comes from the LP tanks on the other side. So say you had a gas grill, you could just hook right onto that. And then there's also a spare tire under here that you can pull out. That thing slides if you need it. We have not had a blowout on this one. This one came with a lot better tires than our previous one did. So we've had 2 blowouts on 2 previous RVs. These guys are really tough, and one of the things I like about DRV, the bottom side is metal. So if you do have a blowout, having one previously, it tears the crap out of the bottom side, and you don't have to worry about that on this. So that is something that I think is pretty cool. They kind of think ahead on what could happen, and so I just wanted to mention that while I was thinking of it. And the spare tire there, it's great to have it if you need it, but you don't need it. So let's see, trying to think. I said it has an awning. It does have 4 cameras, 1 on each side, and 3 cameras, 1 on each side and 1 in the back. And there is a screen inside that you can put in your truck, or you could just set it up if you wanted to have them on as a security thing, so you could see what was going on outside. You would just have to, it does have a car cigarette lighter plug. You would have to figure that out, but this, I think, is it for the outside. So let's head inside. Okay, so it's gonna be dark in here. So we will turn around. It has the in-command system, so the lights are controlled by the in-command screen. So we'll just start here. This is kind of the control panel area. And for the lights, we can start with lights. If you hit interior lights, I didn't hit it fast enough. If you hit interior lights, it turns almost all the lights inside on. You can hit exterior lights and it turns a lot of the outside lights off. And then it also has security lights. And then you just turn them off and they turn off. But if you go to lights here, this is, like I said, kind of your main control. So you can see which ones are on. It didn't turn on the kitchen lights. Like you see the living room ones are on, but the kitchen ones over there aren't. There's 3 pages here you can see on the side. So if you scroll down, it also didn't turn the awning light on, but it did turn on the accent lights. Some of the lights are adjustable. If they've got a number by them, that means that they can go anywhere from 10 to 100. But like the island and the bathrooms, they are not adjustable. So you'll see it's just the light. The blue means it's on. The circle, the kind of dark blue circle, means it's off. So let's go ahead. I don't need the awning light on, but I will turn the other ones on. Go ahead and turn them up. And you can go into settings and like change what these say. So like I said, living room ceiling, kitchen ceiling, bedroom ceiling, and bed reading. So like the master has ceiling lights, and then there's also like reading lights kind of over the bed. You can have one or the other on. And then it's in the kids' bunk room we'll look at here in a minute. There's ceiling lights, and then the bunks themselves have lights over them. They did not, like, we wanted each bunk to be controlled separately, and they were not able to do that, but they were able to do separate sides. So like the girls' side is able to turn on, but then the double bunk on the other side, both sets come on. So I got a kiddo who wants them on until he falls asleep. It's not great for the kiddo who doesn't want them on until he falls asleep. But this is the bunk room. So this is what they call the door side. And it has a ton of storage up here. This is just all open along the way. This is what a standard Orlando would look like. Like, it would be this on both sides. So there's underneath storage, and these drawers are really deep and pretty tall. I will say these handles, we had them taken off. I just put them back on when we cleaned it out. My kiddos, especially if somebody's like sitting here at the desk, they whacked their legs, and even I've whacked my knee on the handle a time or two. So we had those pulled off. They come off super easy if that's, you know, something you're needing to do. We'll look at the windows here real quick. So they have dual blinds. You can just do like the privacy black, or you can just do the daylight one, or you can do them both together. So that's something I like. But I usually, if I'm honest, we usually had like a bubble insulation in all the windows just to help keep the heat out and privacy. The windows are all tinted. It's going to be hard to tell because it's kind of dark right now, but they are all tinted. It was done professionally. So that helps keep the heat out. It doesn't necessarily help in the winter. We're full-time, so we did it year-round. It doesn't necessarily help to keep the cold air out, but it does help if you're wanting some daylight without letting all that heat come in. There is lots of storage here up front. This is a smart TV. We used a Roku, so we had like our little Roku Express Velcroed here, so it didn't slide around. And then the kids had a Nintendo that they put in the drawer here. This is a closet space. There is that on both sides. So there's lots of hanging room up here for them. And then there's more drawers here. There's 2 big drawers on each side, and then the 6 in the middle are all the same, but they're still pretty deep drawers for an RV. And then overhead, there's some storage too. So this is a smart TV. Like I said, we had a Roku hooked up to it, but if you connect it to the internet, you can just sign into all this stuff directly from the TV. You wouldn't have to have a Roku. So that is cool. And all the TVs are going to be like that. This one's an LG. I think the big one down there is a Sony. This is just a cord holder. Like I said, they had their Nintendo over here, and so they had the cord ran around the corner, and it kept like trying to get stuck in these drawers. So we just hooked this so the cord would stay up. So that is what that is. So this is the off door side bunk. These are really big bunks as far as like I can lay down on the bed and still have room. You know, it's not like I'm hitting my feet. We had these ordered so the ends were reinforced so that they had shelves we got at Hobby Lobby. So they had like a little fan here, and they could have a little clock or, you know, whatever. I think they could. We had talked about doing a TV, but I don't know why they would need one when there's the big one in the middle. But each bunk also has its own outlet. So they had like a little light machine. They had command hooks that we had done, and they had like curtains that hung over it so they could just shut their curtain and have a little privacy if they needed it. Living here full time, like I said, we went for space, and sometimes you just need to get away from everybody. So we homeschool, and this little desk area here was a big part of our day. There's storage up here and storage down there. I realized earlier I didn't get this drawer cleaned out, but this is it's short, but it's a very big drawer, and the other side has one too. This side I didn't use, so it's empty, but it does have that. It's got these cool looking chairs that came with it. We used them for a few days, but then we ended up getting some different chairs just because kiddos, you know, sometimes aren't nice to stuff. Let's see. So we talked about the TV has internet. There is up above the kids area, I believe is where it's at. There's a WineGuard 360 that will do like over the air, like TV channels, and it also will do internet. It can connect to, say, your RV park. You can connect to that, or we always used a Starlink. And so you can set it up so it would connect to your Starlink, or we kind of had a backup. So we had a Starlink with a router because we had lots of devices that would connect to them. So we had like 3 separate internets. So this one was, if the RV park had it, we would connect the WineGuard to the RV park, and then the kids' TV here, we would hook up to that, and their iPads. It just depended on how reliable the RV park's internet was. You know, some of them are not very reliable, but I digress. So here is a typical in-command system. Each one of these is a little different. Like, you can see if it's black, that means that the lights are on. So like the outside scare lights are not on. If you hit interior, the button that turned all of the other interior ones, it'll turn them on, but not all of them. I don't know if you saw that the kitchen one didn't go off, but it can be a little tricky getting used to, because like the kids will accidentally turn off the kitchen light when they're trying to turn off their bunk room light. And you'll notice it says ODS bunk 3 times. So there's only 2 ODS bunks. They kind of messed it up when they were wiring it. What we had asked for was for each bunk to be able to turn its own lights on and off. And like I said, they're by side. So that side is on one and this side is on one. And it doesn't... you can't change it after the fact, or that's what they told us. But it's not even the bunk lights, it's the ceiling lights. So see, the ceiling lights are off and the bunk lights are still on. So that's kind of mislabeled, but that's the way it is. So that's our little quirk we have. This is the kids' bathroom. So they've just got a sink and a toilet. It is a macerator toilet. I believe this one comes standard as a macerator toilet because it has to like go to the black tank. It's not directly under it. So it had to have a little more oomph to get there. But we ordered one of the toilets we had to special order to be a macerator toilet. And so they are both a macerator. There is a Samsung washer and dryer that are Wi-Fi enabled. You can get the Samsung SmartThings app and check that out on your phone if you would like to do it, but you don't have to do that. Okay, looking at this, you might notice I've got this little bubble here. You might see them around. I put them on spots that are going to hit, so you can see it can be kind of a tight fit. If you have anything like super big, you're not going to necessarily be able to get it in there, but it was nice to just be able to do everyday laundry and not have to drag the kids to a laundromat. There is a little drawer here. There's two of those, and there's under sink storage here. This is just like a sticky thing we added. It came with like one that we could screw in and mount, but we didn't know where we wanted to put it, and we didn't really want to put screws in the walls, so we didn't use that. We just got a sticky one. So here's another light. This one can be a little tricky because for whatever reason it has the water pump on it, and we've never filled the freshwater tank and like done dry camping, so you don't want to hit that one and just let it run and ruin your water pump. So you kind of have to watch that one in here. There is a max air vent. We've got it covered up here, but that is the controller for it. And then the GFCI outlet. Trying to think. So these two doors are just kind of your standard doors. And well, I didn't say it when we were in the little command center, but this door, it likes to just shut itself. So that is why it's got this guy here to hold it open. And when you are putting the slides in and out, you have to open this door first. And so it's almost a two-person job, or you have to have that something to hold it, because you have to hold it open because this slide comes like clear in past, and there's not a whole lot of clearance. It will take out this doorknob if you do not open it. Coming down here, we've got a little coat closet area. There's, I guess if you look up at the ceiling, there is a smoke detector. There is the wine guard gateway, and it also has, I can't remember what it's called. It doesn't work with the in-command system, so we paid a couple $1,000s for it, and it doesn't work. So, you know, but it does have it. It's unplugged if you go up in there. But the wine guard router works, and the like reset shut off thing is up here with there's a DVD player. There's the screen for the cameras. So this is the living room area, and it has a ceiling fan. We love that it has a ceiling fan that can be controlled, turned on in the panel here, or this pad has the ceiling fan, and the one over on the kitchen side also has one. So here is the TV. Ignore my shoes on the floor. It is a Sony TV. Again, it's a smart TV, and one of the things I like is that it's got lots of storage behind it. So if you had, you know, a gaming system, it might fit back here. Like, I'm thinking a Nintendo. I don't know. I think his Xbox would not fit, but whatever you wanted to put back there, there's some room. And it's got a soundbar underneath. It has an electric fireplace. You set a temperature and it'll run. It's also got run till it hits that temperature. I can't think of what I'm trying to say. It changes colors. I think that's cool. And then it's got a low level or high level, and then you can set your temperature, and then it'll shut off once it gets to that. So if you got cool nights, but you're not ready to break out the LP, you can run this. There are buttons up here that control it. You gotta hold it a little bit to get it to turn off. Or there's also a remote control for it. All the remote controls are in here. So this is for the fireplace, the outside sound bar, the DVD player up above, the TV, and the inside sound bar. So you'll notice that this has lots of storage, and there's a couch here, obviously, and it has even hidden storage underneath it. So I try to that's the stand for the TV if you wanted to take it out and do something different. It does have that. I usually put like water bottles or something like that I didn't want to, didn't really have anywhere to go, but that is a cool thing. There is an outlet here. This is open, but both sides are the same. Lots of storage, but you kind of have to be tall to use it. I had a taller stool that I used to get at stuff. This is the main recliner. This one is electric, and if you look, it's got USB on either side. We didn't use that just because we're always afraid we'd break the cord off, but you can put these out. And the couch over there is actually also a recliner, but it just depends on how far out you have this guy. You might have to adjust it. You pull the handle here and see it's gonna hit. So if I put that in a little bit, so they can be out together. It just takes a little finagling. And then this one is a little tricky. Like if you just try and push down on it, it will not go. You kind of have to push it forward and then push it in to get those to go in. Just a little trick we had to learn when doing this. So each side has like a little hidden storage in there. Put those back. Talked about the TV. There's storage above the TV. There's, again, lots of storage in this guy. There's just pull-out drawers here. They are pretty deep, and the bottom ones are taller too. There is the stove. It is LP stove. We never used it. I have a toaster oven thing that we traveled with. I didn't want to use the LP, and I didn't really want to heat the whole camper up if I didn't have to. It has a convection microwave, and not quite tall enough. The pieces for the convection part are up here, but I will note this window did not come with any sort of shades. It was apparently a fire hazard, so we had a piece of insulation stuck in here just because right now anybody who's outside can see me and what I'm doing, and we didn't like that, so we had to figure out our own way to cover that up. There's a cupboard up here. This is just like a sticky paper. You could pull that off, but both sides are the same there. Nice big cupboards. This side is going to be your garbage can, and up here is just a pull-out drawer. I will say the windows are tinted. It is not dark outside yet, but it looks dark just because of the window tint. So that's it. It makes the world a difference. This is like a little coffee bar area because there's an outlet here. You could put your little Keurig or whatever if you wanted, and then another big cupboard here. This wall we had reinforced. I was originally thinking like putting like a drying, like for towels or and laundry that I needed to hang to dry. I wanted to put racks in there to do it, and I obviously didn't do it. So it is reinforced if you wanted to hang something there. This is the residential insignia fridge. The lights are doing weird stuff on it, but it has tons of room, and it is adjustable here at the top. It has water, but it just runs through the filter down in the basement, and I didn't trust its filtration levels, so we never used it. It also has an ice maker down here, which we have turned off because, again, I didn't trust the filtered water. the accent light is up there, so that's why that one's on. But these drawers slide out. There's lots of room back there. And so this one is like another little, like, if you wanted to hide your coffee obsession, I guess you could put your coffee pot in there. And there's a plug-in back there. Not sure why they did that, but then there's 3 big drawers. They're all the same size. They're pretty tall, pretty deep. Like I said, lots of storage. This is one I didn't use much, but there's a big open area above the fridge too. Accent lights here down along the bar, and then the island lights up there. This is the master bedroom. Tons of storage space in here. We have like a true king mattress in here. It's not an RV king, so it's about 4 inches wider. It fills the space, which you can kind of see. It makes it a little harder to swap the sheets because you have to pull the mattress out and kind of get behind it, but it was worth it to us. If it's not to you, you can very easily swap it out for a RV king instead. We did not, they're supposed to come with like a wireless charger on one side, not both sides, and we didn't like that. So we had them leave that off and instead had them put outlets in here. So, and they are, there's like a USB thing and a USB-A, USB-C, plus 2 regular plugs. There's also a little storage there. And there's, other side has it. This is the access to the shower. There's also storage down underneath the bed. There's 2 drawers. They're the same size. And see how much muscle I have today. There is, under the bed, a built-in safe we have not used, but there is that available, and more storage behind the drawers if you had something you were wanting to stick back there. All right, try and put it down without, slamming. I hate doing that. So there are closets, like when I say closet, I guess I mean hanging bars. There's lots of hanging space. This one is like just one big open one, but the 2 on the side are each their own little hanging spot. And then there's up above, again, I didn't really use that much because I'm short. The Samsung Smart TV up there, and the remote for that's actually down there. Lots of pull-out drawers. There are 2 big ones. These ones are a little, they're not quite as deep, but they are tall compared to some of the other ones. And this is the vanity slide. So this comes in and it actually goes over the bed a little bit. But it just gives you that extra space having that vanity slide. Here are the middle drawers. They're all the same size. And let's see, I'm trying to think if there's anything we did. This is the master bathroom. It's also the only shower. So this is a nice tall shower. We added the lights in there so you can see in the shower, and we have, like I said, another macerator toilet, and this is an elongated, I believe. So it's a little taller. This is the gauge for the back gray and the back black tank. The front gauge up in the, where the in command thing is, that is just for the front tanks. That took us a little bit to figure out. There is also a controller for the fan and lots of storage. Like I said, there's drawers. There's the other toilet paper holder that we didn't use. We did another sticky guy there. These drawers are a little on the smaller side, but there's a bunch of them. There's also little narrow space on both sides of the sink, so we kind of had a his and her side. And again, the little shorter drawers. Nice size sink. I liked the bronze and the white. I really like the white because we have I told you we used insulation in the windows, so the white makes it feel not as dark in here. That was my big thing, is if I don't have a lot of natural light coming in, I wanted to do what I could so that the space felt brighter without having to have as many lights on. Like I told you, the lights are adjustable. So they're on 100 now just for the video, but we usually just had them on 50 just because we didn't need that much light all the time. These are the 2 pocket doors. So to unlock it, you just push down and then it slides along this track. And then it'll lock back into space back there. So that is the extent of its locking, is just this up and down. So you might don't have necessarily a whole lot of privacy from the kiddos, but the upstairs bathroom, the kids' bathroom, and the kids' bedroom both have locks on them. And that could be a good or a bad thing, I suppose, depending on your children. And let's see, or guests. I shouldn't just assume that you're going to have children here. Here is the front tank monitor, like I said. And it also has it up here, like they're empty right now. Come on. They're empty now, but if they had something in them, I don't think it likes my sticky fingers. Sweaty. This bar would start to fill up until it got full. So this in-command system, there's actually an in-command app that you can get, and you can control all of this from your phone. If you have, as long as the RV is connected to internet. So we had, like I said, the Starlink, we'd just leave it up when we were gone and we could check on the RV, and you cannot control everything from the app unless you're like in the RV and can Bluetooth, because it will connect through Wi-Fi and through Bluetooth. So if you're connected with Bluetooth, you have access to all of them. So you can put your slides in like with your phone outside, but you cannot put your slides in from 500 miles away. So the awnings, the slides, the ceiling fan, those are not, you can't control those when you're just connected through Wi-Fi, but you can control the climate and the lights, and you can see like the tank levels. So speaking of climate, so there's 3 ACs. They are all heat pump ACs with soft starts. So you can't have all 3 air conditioners running at the same time, but you could have 2 air conditioners running and the third one running a fan if you wanted. So this main AC heat is the main middle air conditioner, and it's also the furnace. So when you go to heat, you can click electric or gas if you wanted to switch to the furnace side, or you could do auto. We didn't like auto because it seemed like they could fight each other, like one's running to cool down the other one, and we just didn't do it. But it is an option, and then you just go up or down to set your temperature. So bedroom AC is actually going to be the bunk room. So that, since it's up there, tends to get a little hot. Another reason I made the kids keep the door open so the air could circulate better. As you can see, we don't really have the air going because it's just sitting and we're not in it. And then finally you go to third AC, and that's the back bedroom AC. And you can set a schedule if you want. We didn't do that, but that is an option. This would be where you could control the generator. As you can see, it's only ran for maybe 10 minutes. It does have a built-in surge protector, and so if you plug it in and there's a fault, like the power there at the RV park or campground is bad, it will tell you, and there's codes that you can go through. It also will tell you how much electricity you're using. This is the inverter for charging the batteries when you're hooked up to electric. This is the water heater controller that you have to turn it on here and back out at the heater where I showed you earlier. It does have tank heaters, and there is cap lights that you can turn on if you want. There's also another vent fan that I think you can like set a temperature, and it's supposed to like open up and try and keep it at that temperature. We've never used it. It's just something that we have. And then down here is your access for all the breakers. If you need to get at those, something trips. I'm trying to think. The dryer, this is residential, so it's got its own big breaker there. this light here is a motion sensing light, and it drove me crazy. So I usually have like a little rag put over it, so during the day it's not turning on every time I go up and down the stairs, but I can uncover it then at night for the kiddos to be able to get and see us. I didn't talk about this. We had the dealership install a Jayco water system. So down here under the sink, there's a 5-gallon water jug that you can just take out and fill up, and then you just turn this switch on. It likes to keep making that noise every once in a while, so we usually just have it off unless we're using it. But that is what we did for filtered water or bottled water. My husband was a little picky on what type of water he has, so I just trusted that a little bit more than the RV park water. And let's see, I do have quite a few upgrades that we did when we custom ordered it, but I honestly would have to look at the list because I can't necessarily remember them all. I know that there was a fiberglass roof that we did, so that roof maintenance was something that we didn't have to worry about. Overall, we love the storage. It's just we're not traveling anymore, so we aren't needing it. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out, and I would love to answer them for you. Thanks for looking.